Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the
Podcast.
Today's episode, we're going to be talking about The Conjuring.
Yes, and this is a movie that I picked. Hi, it's Cass. So, The Conjuring was released in 2013. And
Why'd you pick this movie?
Why? Because it's spooky season.
Spooky season. All right.
We're in September. It's spooky season.
Yeah, you're right. I think the main takeaway that I have of this movie, first of all, is just all the people's names. I remember having to write like everybody's name down, like the mom, the dad,
the
Warrens. It took me quite a bit to know who's who.
I knew a few people. Like I knew the
Oh,
Warrens.
I know you did. I know you've never seen this movie, but you've seen.
No, listen, everybody. I've seen The Conjuring 3, so I knew the Warrens. And I also picked up the dog's name pretty quickly. Like, that was the first name. And then there was so many kids that I was like, man, I don't know if I can remember all these children. So, like, I had to write them down. There was, like, times where, like, I'd be like, what's that girl's name? And then I'd be like, they'd finally say it. And I'd be like, oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah. Basically the first half of the movie was just like girl one says to girl two.
Yeah.
Older girl talks to the middle child. That's kind of like my notes in the beginning. But yeah, this, I think the intro for this movie was actually pretty good. It talks, like, it shows the
it starts with
doll.
like Annabelle. Yeah, Annabelle. It starts with Annabelle.
Yeah.
So you're getting like a preview?
Yeah, like with a different couple. Like the nurse and the...
No, it's a completely different, a different group of people. It's just that the Warrens are already being introduced by helping these people with that doll prior to then this house being haunted and then them going. Also, I would like to say, though, and, like, I know this isn't the Annabelle movie. Maybe we'll do that one day. Maybe we won't. But they make Annabelle so much creepier than she needs to be. Like, it looks like a ventriloquist-esque doll. Yeah. And the Annabelle in real life is like a little Raggedy Ann doll, which is still creepy because imagine like having a cuddly little Raggedy Ann doll and it's possessed to shit. Yeah. But like this doll just looks way scarier than it needs to, which I guess that, like, they want to exaggerate it for the movie and for the plot and all that.
Yeah.
But
the ugliest doll. This
the ugliest, just ugly, dirty,
shit.
Creepy. I like that, like, even though the beginning, has to do with Annabelle, it's like, oh, they got mad that the doll was moving, so they just threw her the fuck away. I'm like, do you know how pissed this doll is right now? Yeah. Like, she shows up back in the house like, surprise, bitches, I'm back.
Yeah, the doll had the miss me on a note with fucking Crayola.
Yeah. She's like, miss me?
Yeah.
And then they were talking about how it's like a conduit, which means that, like, it's trying to possess something. Yeah. So that the doll wasn't necessarily possessed to begin with, but, like, the spirit, they allow the spirit. Yeah. Yeah. Because the spirit said it was a girl named Annabelle, which is like kind of like a made up story of like this demon that the demon made, and then they were like, oh, of course you can live in the doll. So now you're giving it that kind of like authority to live there, and yeah. Then we find out that the doll is now like locked in like the glass case to avoid the spirits from like hurting anyone, latching onto things like that, like the conduit already attached to the doll. So now the Warrens have it in their house. And then we fast forward to 1971 because it starts in 1968. That's when Annabelle, you talk about the doll. Now we fast forward, we're in 1971.
And here's like the intro where you get to see the family, right? Like where they're pulling up to the new house in Rhode Island.
Yeah. So you're just seeing like the amount of people that get out of this tiny car. Like it looked like a clown car. Like I was like, they have more kids. Like after the first two came out and then there was still more. I was like, yeah, and the dog. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Where they put the packet, like the boxes, like the bags, like it was just literally just them and the dog in this tiny fucking car.
I literally wrote down because I was watching all these kids get out of the car and I was like, they have enough kids to have their own team. Like they can have their own basketball team, their own football team. Like they had so many kids.
Yeah. And the real horror was just the family. Yeah, I think that's the real shit show.
I don't know. This is my first and probably the largest red flag from this whole movie is when the dog named Sadie refuses to enter the house. Oh, yeah. That is the most red flag that red flags can get. Mm-hmm. It's like fire engine red.
Yeah.
Because, like, dogs sense things more than, like, us. So the dog's not going in. Like, even when dogs don't like people, I'm like, should I like this person? The dog doesn't like you. Mm-hmm. So the dog's not entering this house. Like, that's already it. Like, y'all should have just, packed your shit back up and walked out. But no.
Also, like, they explore the house as if this is the first time they're seeing it.
Yeah, like, you bought this. Like, you bought this.
How did they buy it?
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, shouldn't you have explored? Yeah, the house just looks creepy and like it's falling apart from the beginning. From when they,
it's a creepy ass fucking.
It's house. A fixer upper, you know. They had to.
No, but then you see that tree and it just looks
like. No, that tree is very weird looking, for sure. And then they discovered like the old patched up hidden cellar because remember that like the girls are playing
hide and clap.
If anyone, I hope everybody that's listening to this, if you know me personally, if you don't, that's fine as well. If anyone ever suggests to play hide and clap, like, get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah.
No, we're not playing hide and clap. No. There will be none of that. If my kids ever decide, like, Mommy, what's a fun game to play? Not hide and clap. That's a terrible game. Whoever made this up, like, you're running around the house blindfolded. Also, they just moved into this house, what? A day ago, maybe? And now you're playing hide and clap where you have to have a blindfold on. You don't even know where things are in this house.
Yeah.
You're easily going to get injured.
Yeah.
But no, instead you find a old patched up hidden cellar. And then they're like, oh, well, let's explore. I wonder why it was patched up. I'm like, probably not for a good reason.
Yeah. I don't think patched up is the best word because that shit was boarded up. Like full on. Like 2x4 boarding up.
Oh yeah. I just said like patched up because I think that's the term they used in the film, so that's why I said it. But it's not good. And then like the wife, the mom, I remember her name later on. Carolyn. She's like, it's gonna be great, isn't it? Like, no, you're straight up not gonna have a good time, bitch. This is not gonna be good. And then she starts waking up with these wild ass bruises. Things that are not good, the amount of bruises. Also, this is when the first warning signs that are not the dog start showing up. So the mom has bruises. The clocks are stuck at 3:07.
Yep.
And
all of them.
The bedrooms are all smelling really bad. Mm-hmm. Right? Like this is it.
Yeah. I mean, literally like the same morning, the little girl goes outside and she sees the dog dead.
Oh, the dog dead. Yep. They see all these signs and then, right after that, they're like, yeah, honey, go outside. She sees the dog that's dead. And then I think they take us from the dog dying to, like, the Warren
house, yeah.
And I just wanted to say that I loved how realistic the room in the Warren's house looks. And I know what it looks like because I watch BuzzFeed Unsolved, and Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved went and they went to the Warren's house. Yeah. And they talked to Annabelle, and I love BuzzFeed Unsolved, and
it looks exactly the same. I mean, granted, you know, in the movie it's based in the 70s, so things would have changed from then to now when they went to, but like it looks exactly the same as the YouTube video.
It's also, I love BuzzFeed Unsolved. Probably said that already. I love Shane and Ryan, so shout out to them.
So yeah, they're doing like this interview in this room with all the creepy shit, and then the reporter's telling Mr. Warren, like, hey, aren't you afraid of like all these things, or like why don't you just like get rid of it? And it's kind of like, yeah, well, I prefer to them be encapsulated into these objects here in my house than to be roaming around.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's kind of what we see there. I don't know, do we see more of them there?
No, it goes back and forth. So the next one would be they're back in the movie. They're back in the haunted house with the family.
Yeah.
And you could tell something's happening because the clocks are stopped again at 3:07 after they fixed it, assumingly.
Yeah, and then this is when there's more about the bad smells, and then the girl, she is getting her foot grabbed.
Yeah.
And she's like, why are you grabbing my foot, Nancy, to her sister? Mm-hmm. And then also at the same time, Cindy starts sleepwalking into that wardrobe.
Yeah.
Where she's just like, bah, 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 nonstop, just like ramming her head against it. Mm-hmm. And then the mom wakes up and has more bruises. So everything is just fucking going crazy.
Yeah. And then I think this is where you see the dad fall asleep downstairs, right? Like on the desk. And
I think so.
And he starts hearing some weird shit, like the inside door, right? So not the door outside, but the inside door, like slamming itself or like creaking open. Mm-hmm. And then like there's clearly like a lot. There's like two things that you could pick up from the scene where there's something downstairs and then there's also something upstairs.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't really find out 100%, but like you know that the dad is experiencing something downstairs, and then you're also like how you said Cindy's sleepwalking to
Cindy's
Andrea's.
Sleepwalking. The other girl is like waking up and like her foot is being grabbed, and then I think when they wake up is when the mom. You see all the bruises she has, mm-hmm. and then the mom passes by April, which is the youngest little girl, mm-hmm. and April's just like sitting at a table by herself having a full-fledged conversation. Yep. So the mom is like, "Hey, April, who you talking to, sweetie?"
Talking to you?
And she's like, "Oh, it's just Rory." Like, "Oh, yeah, fucking cool." Like, who the fuck is Rory? And then the line that I wrote down was like when she gives her mom the music box. And she's like, when the music stops, you see him in the mirror standing behind you. And I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah. Absolutely fucking not. Mm-hmm. But then also, right after this very scary, like, occurrence, let's all go play hide and clap. This is terrible. Yeah. Family dynamic, terrible.
Yeah.
Fucking terrible.
But also, April, she's pranking her mom a little bit because she spooks her.
Oh,
like boo. Like, oh. And then her mom is just like, oh, haha, like, very funny, you got me. Because she clearly didn't see Rory.
Yeah.
But
Rory is there.
Yeah.
Like, Rory is a real thing. Like, the little girl, April, is trying to, like, spook her mom, but it's not like she was lying about Rory.
Yeah, no.
Because we see Rory later on.
Yeah.
And we find out more about Rory.
I legit wrote down, like, at this scene where they're like, oh, okay, so you want to play hide and clap now? And I just wrote, like, Cass and I, legit, are you fucking joking? You just moved into this house. That's what I just wrote for this scene.
Yeah, because it's a joke. It's a fucking joke. I wouldn't play hide and clap in my own house because, like, there's, like, little places where, like, the floor drops and stuff like that. Like, no. So
it's
we're gonna...
terrible game.
Yeah, terrible game. Terrible fucking game. And then I literally wrote, how do you even know where things are in this house to play blindfolded hide and clap? Mm-hmm. And then, this is when the fucking wardrobe opens. The wardrobe opens while, like, she's playing hide and clap and trying to find April. And I'm like, who the fuck is in this wardrobe? Because April's in the other room.
Yeah.
So you're like, what is this? No, you find out, like, right after. Like, April's in the other room. And then... just everything is a hot mess at this point.
Yeah, like the collapse is leading her to the wardrobe.
Yeah.
She inches closer. She says, I can hear you breathing, right? Mm-hmm. And then she, like, takes off her blindfold or whatever, and then she hears, like, footsteps from the corner, from, like, the hallway. And then she sees April there. And then April's like, oh, you took your blindfold off. That's cheating.
Yeah. Okay. In the demon's defense, I'm going to play some devil's advocate. Can you imagine a family moves in? It's like 2 days in. And you're already fucking with them. You're like, oh, I'm fucking with this family. I'm scary shit. I'm a demon. Haha. Okay. And then you find out that the family plays a game called hide and fucking clap. Of course you're going to fuck with them. This demon's having a fucking field day. He's like, this is the best thing that's happened to me since I've been trapped in this fucking spooky ass house.
That demon's like eating popcorn like, oh, thank God. I mean, not, but, like, he's thanking somebody.
That demon's literally like, oh, this was easy. He's like, I don't even gotta try. You know how much fun that thing's having? Like,
yeah, that shit got me. That shit got me.
That shit's probably laughing as hard as we are.
Yeah.
But,
that demon's staying tuned to this podcast. They're like, hey, shit.
That demon's like, yo, they appreciate me. I see you guys. But yeah, and then I think the Carolyn goes downstairs and Roger's like, oh, I have to go to Florida in a few days. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah, so the dad is booking it.
Yeah.
So it's just the girls now.
It's just the girls. And this is when, okay, so the girl that's getting her foot pulled, her name is Christine. I finally wrote it down here. So, like, she gets her foot pulled again.
Oh, and yeah, now it's even worse.
She starts, like, fucking getting up and looking under the bed. And I wrote, like, she is so brave for a kid, because I would have covered myself, like, in this whole fucking blanket, closed my eyes, and called it a night. Like, that's it. Like, I'm under the blanket. Demons can't get you under the blanket, okay?
Yeah.
So, that's it. No, she's, like, under the bed. She's, like, looking up. She's, like... I was very concerned for what the fuck was going to happen to her.
Yeah. I kept writing, like, what in the caucasity? What in the caucasity? Because, like, she's... Yo, I would have been freaked out.
Yeah, no, she's just, like, looking everywhere. I'm like, girl, get your ass to sleep.
Yeah. And then she, like, sees somebody by the door, and she's, like...
oh, yeah, this is when Nancy gets up because she's like, there's someone by the door, Nancy, there's someone by the door. And then, like, Nancy closes the door. She's like, Nancy, it's right behind you. And Nancy is making this, because then she screams, and that's when the whole family comes upstairs.
Yeah, because the door slams.
Yeah. And Nancy is making this face like, yo, sis, you fucking tripping. Like, ain't nobody back here. There's nobody behind me. She's looking at her sister like, the fuck has gotten into her? Mm-hmm. And there's just like, there's someone behind Nancy. And Nancy's like, there's literally no one here. Like, I don't know what's happening.
But she didn't even get spooked with the door slamming. It was just like, girl, you're tripping. It's probably just the wind. And then Nancy's like, it wants my family dead. Like, dude.
Nancy?
Yeah.
She says that?
Is it Nancy?
Nancy's the one that's standing by the door. And she like...
Oh, no, the little girl.
The one that's already yelling. Mm-hmm. Christine.
Yeah.
And then after this, isn't this like right after this is when the mom comes out of their room because they've all been screaming. Mm-hmm. And then you hear like a child laughing and all the frames falling off next to the staircase.
Oh, yeah. And then she's like following it.
Bum, 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 bum. I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, where are you going? And like follows this invisible thing. I'm like, bitch, go to bed.
Yeah. She saw them falling.
Saw them.
It's not like she didn't see how they went from being hung to being on the staircase. She clearly saw them falling.
Yeah, no, and all the kids were sleeping already because this was after the scare. So then, like, she starts exploring to see what's knocking it down when she knows it's nothing. And then the kid starts, like, clapping. And she knows that all the kids are asleep. Like, all her daughters are asleep. But, hey, this little demon boy is playing, like, hide and go clap.
Yeah. So she's, yeah, I would never go exploring down there.
No, and then the kid... This was like my favorite scene because like the mom was I think she goes to like the cellar area and she's like, oh, I'm gonna trap this demon in here. And she's like, I'm gonna lock you in now. And the demon was like, bitch, you thought, and like slams the door in her face.
Yeah, and then she comes tumbling down.
She's like, ba 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 bam. And then, you know, after he like fucked with her, he like tosses the ball because he's like, let's play.
Yeah.
Let's have a good time.
Yeah. And there's no lights. The lights went out.
Oh, yes. And this is the scariest scene where she's trying to get back up. This is the scariest scene to me. She's trying to get back out. And then it's like, you want to play hide and clap? And I was like, no. Yeah. My God. And you see the hands.
The hands, yeah. Like the ghostly, like pale hands. Shit got me.
I think that was the one part where we both like went, and screamed. Like that was the one part where we were like, oh shit.
No, because it's building up. It built up for like
and
15
it's like
minutes.
She's trying to light the match this whole time. So you get to see like shadows every now and then.
Yeah.
So then that's when you hear you want to play hide and clap and the match is still lit and then you see the hands and when it claps the match goes out. Which was great. It was great.
Yeah,
I feel like
good
sometimes
cinematic effect.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like especially for scary movies, sometimes the jump scares, like they are jump scares, but they're not like cinematically well done. And I just think that this moment was very well done. Like,
oh yeah,
it was good because it wasn't like nothing popped out that was like scary looking. It was just the hands. It was something very simple, but the way it played out was real nice. So that was good.
Yeah.
And then this is when like I think it cuts to upstairs and the wardrobe is just like thumping on its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's clearly two things happening here.
Yeah.
Like, there's whatever's happening to the mom, which is Rory, the little kid.
Oh, to the mom, yes,
yeah.
Rory.
But upstairs, there's, like, a whole-on fucking demon.
Yeah, because then, I don't know if I should explain this now or wait till the end, like, ending. Because, like, then you kind of figure out, like, what Rory is doing versus what that other demon is doing. Mm-hmm. You know? I guess we can get more into that in like a little.
Yeah, like after you see the girls getting tormented by the demon upstairs.
Well, now you finally see the demon upstairs because the wardrobe is thumping. So she opens it.
There's nothing there.
And there's nothing there. Yeah. And then the camera pans up and then the demon's on top. And then they just start screaming. The mom's trying to get out of the where she's locked in. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, so at this point, things kind of, in a way, start to make sense. If you think about it, when you're watching it, you don't think about it too much. But the demon that's upstairs is the one that's like trying to find someone to possess to kill children. Mm-hmm. So the reason why Rory is bringing the mom downstairs is to keep her away from it. Yeah,
from a motherly figure.
Yeah, from that motherly figure. And he knows like, oh, this is what happens. It possesses someone and then it kills like the children. So that demon is trying to scare the children and it's upstairs, but Rory is really like, okay, if I bring the mom downstairs at this exact moment, she can't get possessed because I've taken her somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting when you think about it like that.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until now.
And then that's why when the girls finally scream, she can get out of where it is because now Rory's like, okay, like your kids are in danger, go.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not as plain. I don't know how to explain it. Like as people think sometimes scary movies are just very like straightforward. It's just about the jump scares. But I feel like this one, you have to think about things a little bit, which is good. I like that,
Yeah. So yeah, she's able to go upstairs and then she like consoles her kids. Consoles her kids. And so yeah, then we zoom past to the Warrens teaching a class.
Yeah, in like a university nearby.
Yeah, at a university, yeah. And then you could just see the mom waiting for them to ask for help with the family and like what's going on. And surprisingly, like they agree. They're like, we don't kind of do this anymore, but it just seems real. And then
I think it's Lorraine. Like I think Lorraine sees like the kind of panic as a mother and like she's also a mother and that's why, because I think Ed is like very quick to shut her down and be like, no, we don't do this anymore. Also, Ed's quick to shut her down because we find out that the last time they went to like go handle a possession, something happened to Lorraine. So he's already
during an
like,
exorcist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or exorcism.
An exorcism, yeah. So he's already kind of like concerned that he doesn't want anything else to happen to his wife.
Yeah.
And also like, what can you expect? Like a random lady's like, hey, my house is possessed. He's like, but then she keeps explaining things little by little. And Ed even like starts kind of like turning to be like, oh, wait, this does sound kind of like a possession. So then they agree. They go to the house. They check it out. And this is, I made a note only because they're talking about after this, they go in the house, but they talk about that the 3 signs are like infestation, oppression, and then possession. So that's like the order in which things happen. And then this is when the Warrens come by, and I think they come by one night and then they come again the next day, right? Because they don't record her voice yet. They record her voice the next day. Yeah. They just come by, they meet the girls, and they're like, we'll be back tomorrow with more of our stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
And you find out almost immediately, like Elizabeth Warren was saying, well, she's a clairvoyant, right? So she gets to...
Lorraine?
Her
name is Lorraine.
Oh, why did I write Elizabeth?
I don't know. I don't think her name is Elizabeth.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, anyways. Miss Warren, right? She's a clairvoyant. She says, like, the next day that from the very first minute that she walked into the house, she could already feel, like, something was really going on there. Versus, like, other times where they go to, like, a family's house and they're able to solve, like, literal issues like, oh, there's a draft because your vent was doing this, right?
And then they show that. They show like when another time when they went into the house and he's like, listen, like you're hearing this because the water's running. This is hitting this in your attic. But yeah, she says like, oh, I saw a dark presence behind the girls. Yeah. So yeah. And then they go... And then that's when they bring their voice recorder. And this is before they bring more people in, I think. I think that day it's just them 2 again. Yeah. And they bring the voice recorder and they record a conversation with Carolyn and Rogers, the dad, right? Mm-hmm. So they record a conversation with them. They take it back home and they're like, all right, we'll see if we can get like an exorcism approved on the house, all this stuff. then when Ed is playing the recording, or I don't know if it's Ed or Lorraine that's playing the recording, they're like, her voice didn't record.
Yeah. It's only them talking.
It's only them and the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the mom's voice didn't record.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, this is sketch. And then again at 3:07 a.m., the clocks. Oh no. Then hold on. Sorry. 3:07 a.m. Sorry. I write notes sometimes and then I'm like, wait, what I write? Then you start finding out because Lorraine starts doing all this research about things that happened in the house, and you find out that it was like they hung like a witch from like back then that they thought was like sacrificing children, I think.
Yeah.
And her time of death was 3:07 a.m. And then there was like a couple, not a couple, it was like Rory and like his mom or caretaker living in the house. So like Rory disappeared, and that's when the other lady killed herself. Mm-hmm. And you're just finding out the backstory of things that happened in the house. So things are becoming clear. Like, oh, the clocks stop at 3:07 because that's the time of death. This lady was all about like killing children. So and then you're seeing, okay, well, maybe that's why she wants to possess the mom, and the mom has the bruises.
Yeah.
And that's why Rory is like a victim in all this. And that's why he's like this little kid. Because I think at first, like I'm saying now when we're talking about it, but at first you think Rory is kind of like evil too, like an evil just child, spirit. But then things start becoming clear.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, like Ed and Lorraine are like, okay, we know what the fuck we have to do. Like we need to bring everyone in, and we gotta record, take pictures, do everything to this house.
Yeah, they outfit the entire home with like microphones.
Yeah.
Cameras with like sensors, just to see if they could get a reaction from like a spirit or like a demonic entity.
Yeah. And then they bring in Brad, which is like the police officer that we find out later. Mm-hmm. And they bring in Drew. Mm-hmm. And Drew has a really cute VW van. Uh-huh. It's adorable.
Uh-huh.
Why are you eyeing me like that?
Oh, you know. Literally, we get people like, okay. Hold up. We're watching this movie, right? And she's like, what is it, Drew, right?
His name is Drew.
Yeah, she's like, I love Drew. Like, look, he has such a cute car. And I'm just like, why? She's like, I don't know, he just loved him. Like, he's Asian, isn't he?
Listen, because Drew's in the third movie. So at one point, I didn't realize, I've never seen the first Conjuring. I don't know why, I've just seen the third one. But in the third one, he's there. So all of a sudden, we're watching the first one, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Drew. You're like, so Felix is like, who's Drew? And I was like, Drew, it's Drew. He's just the guy that works with them. I just didn't know he was in this film. Yeah. Then Drew pulls up in this really cute VW van. Mm-hmm. I can't speak. VW van.
Yes.
Okay. Very cute little van.
Yeah. He's Asian.
What does that have to do with it?
You could have liked anybody else, but you had this immediate reaction, and you're like, oh my God, it's Drew. I love him. And then I was just like, he's Asian, isn't he? Because we just got like kind of like the back of his head.
Yeah,
or he
was
moving equipment. And it wasn't until he turned around, I slowly panned over to Cass, and I was just like, mm-hmm.
I just like his character. Okay? But we're getting off topic from this film.
Yeah.
So then, I think this is when like the cameras start going off, and
yeah, they find the door creak open, and the Warrens head downstairs to the basement to try to like document something, but it doesn't seem like much is happening. Like just like hints, right? Like little subtle things.
Yeah, nothing big,
but not what they really are looking for. They're looking for like a demon.
Yeah,
like the dark possession or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, and then this is when is this the time where I can't remember her name right now. Cindy starts sleepwalking again.
Oh yeah, she goes from downstairs to upstairs to that room.
Yes.
And then
then like they're letting all the cameras go off, and they're gonna stop her, and then I think one of the Warrens is like, no, let her. Mm-hmm. And then shit gets wild right after that. Yeah. After that, everything is wild.
Yeah, like they figure out that it's Rory. That's Rory with her.
Yeah.
He's scared, and then, they can't really find where she went. Obviously, she's like behind the wardrobe that was there, but they don't know that there's like a false or like fake door.
Yeah.
In the wardrobe.
So then they find out, because then...
They use, like, a black light.
Yeah, she goes upstairs, and then they don't follow her right away. And then when she's not coming down, they're like, where is she? They can't find her. They use that black light where they see all the handprints. So there's, like, a... Yeah, it's like a... I don't know how to explain it. Like, yeah, a hidden door. Yeah, fake door. Mm-hmm. So she's behind there. And then, that's exactly when Lorraine talks a little bit more, and she's like, oh... Like, he was trying to keep her safe. Yeah. Like, he's trying to put her here because she cannot get hurt here. She is away from everyone. So that makes you think more about, like, Rory as well and be like, oh, so Rory is just kind of a spirit that has been through something and is now trying to, like, protect others. And then I don't know what happens, but the next note I have is that, like, the demons spit blood in, like, the mouth.
Yeah, because, like, nothing really happens... in the sense of the night. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's kind of like babysitting the house. Like, they're waiting for something to happen. They have all this equipment lined up.
People are napping.
And, you know. So most of the family leaves the house, and it's just Lorraine and Carolyn. And so Lorraine is outside. She's like, I think, hanging up clothes.
Oh, so Ed is there too, because Ed was like behind her. When she was hanging up clothes, doesn't he like walk away from her? And that's when she looks up and she sees the demon in the window after the thing. Which, side note, I thought that like it was so cute the morning before this, like when they're all like having breakfast and stuff, and then the little one, which I think is April, she like takes a plate to Ed, and then he's like, "Oh, you saw that little one? She was so sweet." So I like just having like it's like a good dynamic of like. Not cute, but like it was like a happy moment, right? Before shit just goes down.
But yeah, you see like the mom get grabbed by her arm, and it's kind of like burn marks.
Oh yeah, because she's sleeping, because that's a thing, right? Because Lorraine is like, you need to go upstairs and nap now that the family's out, because she's the first one that hasn't been able to sleep. And then when the whatever Lorraine is hanging, when it flies up, it flies to the window. And she sees the demon, and she's like, "Fuck, that's Carolyn's room." So she's like, got a blast, and she's trying to like run upstairs. And then you're seeing all these like burning bruises that are actively happening. And then the demon spits in her mouth. Spits blood in her mouth.
Like completely vomits.
It's like blood.
Just to, like, possess her, you know?
Yeah, so then she's possessed as fuck, right?
No reaction.
No, but...
And then she says that shit where she hears the family pulling over.
Oh, yeah, like Lorraine is like, I think you need to lay down, I think you need this, because Lorraine doesn't get to see anything, because then she's trapped in the she locked herself in the bathroom. So finally Lorraine's knocking, and she's like, oh, I just had to use the restroom. So Lorraine can already tell something's off. Yeah. She's like, this is weird. And then she's like, no, I think you need to lay down, I think we need to do this. And she's like, no, I can hear my family coming in right now. And they're still like down the block. Like the car hasn't even pulled up. I'm like, what the fuck? And then now, I think finally this is when like we realize that she's about to like kill the girls. Yeah,
because like, you know, they're investigating the house, either physically there or like over the like newspaper articles, whatever. Yeah. And so, you know, you could tell that there's more than just a demon and Rory. Like there's a nurse lady, there's like another mom, like there's a lot of there's a lot happening in this house. And so Lorraine finally figures out, you know, what the fuck is happening. Like she sees the spirits down in the basement. And then she sees that over the years they've been possessed and like causing all these things to happen. Yeah, she starts putting everything together. Yeah. So is this the part where the demon gets the necklace from her and starts tormenting the Warrens' daughter? Or is there anything in between? Because I know like that scene... No, I think that's already what happens because... Let me see. Oh, no. This is before, because I wrote that like Brad at this point Brad is not a skeptic anymore, because remember Brad is like the cop, and he's like I don't want to do this, like he's like, this is, I'm gonna help you guys out, but like I don't believe in this shit. Yeah. But then Brad gets his fucking face bit, which is wild as shit. And let me see. And Rory's still playing hide and seek this whole time.
oh, and then this is what happens. This is what happens. They go downstairs. They go downstairs, and this is the mom's already possessed. They're trying to like figure out what they're gonna do, and this is when Lorraine falls into like the basement. Like they're in that cellar, and then she falls, remember? And when she falls, the only thing that falls with her is the music box. And that's when she turns it and she plays it. And once she plays it and looks behind her like she's looking for Rory is when everything starts coming together.
That she sees like, the nurse lady.
Yeah, she sees the nurse. She realizes that some of the demons are like trying to help her. And that's exactly
spirits.
Yeah. They're not all demons, they're spirits.
Yeah.
You're right. But yeah, that's what leads into what you were just talking about. Because I was like, how do they get there? But yeah, it's because she falls, has the music box, plays it, and that's when she starts putting everything together.
Yeah. Yeah, like the demon yanks the necklace at that point between her falling from like the third floor, trying to look for Rory, to downstairs.
Yeah.
basement.
So now the necklace is just like hanging there.
Yeah, and then the demon, finds a connection to the Warren's daughter, and then fucking causes all kinds of shit. Like she yanks the girl from the bed, and then it corners her into a room, and then she sees the demon playing with Annabelle and like stroking her hair, and then Annabelle dolls like turns around.
But then right before this is when like Lorraine goes outside and she like looks in the lake and she sees like if her daughter was like floating and like just drowned, and she calls her mom. She's like, oh my God, is she okay? Is she okay? I think her daughter's name is Judy. She's like, is she okay? Is she okay? And then she's like, yeah, it's fine. But then the demon starts tormenting her daughter.
Yeah.
As well. They open like the haunted room. That's when the little girl goes into the haunted room. The person playing with Annabelle's hair. And then...
Yeah, it's a good way to get the family out of the house,
Yeah, because then they go to the house.
Yeah.
And then everyone has left the house also, like the main house, the Conjuring house, right? But then Carolyn takes off with Christine and April in the car.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, mom took off with her. She smelled like rotting meat. I'm like, this is all terrible. This is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And then you see that she like, she takes them. I mean, they're back in the house. They're trying to get the girls out of the house. I think Drew shows up to the house with Brad, and like, he gets them out. This is when the mom bites Brad in the whole fucking face. She bites a chunk of his cheek off. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah, clearly this bitch is possessed.
She's possessed, 100%. 100%
she's
she is
trying
possessed.
To sacrifice them. And,
yeah, she is.
And like they're just like, yo, we need to do a fucking exorcism.
Yeah, so it's exorcism
ASAP.
time. Yeah. Like, and then they were like waiting for like the Vatican to give them approval, and then Ed's like, listen, we're not waiting anymore. Like, I know how to fucking do this. I'm gonna do it right here. Yeah. And then there's like this point in the movie where like all the birds start like flying into the house. But when this like part happened, I was like, oh, it's just a bird. And then I was like, oh, fuck, I lied. There's like 100 fucking birds, and they're just coming in from all the windows, all angles. And then there's... And then, what was I going to say? Oh, and then there's this part where... Oh, well, now, what happens after this? After the birds come in, homegirl's full on possessed. They're like tying her to the chair. Like they put a sheet over her. We don't know what's going on. And then like the demon lifts this chair, flips it upside down. And that's when like one of the Warrens is like, put her down. And the demon was like, heard, just fucking drops that bitch. It's just like, bloop. That was a loud clap. But
yeah.
Anyways. And then... Yeah, and then, they continue with the exorcism, and they finally get the demon out, and she's still alive. And during all this, April is, like, hidden, because Rory, like, got her to hide, like, underneath the floorboards.
Yeah.
And that's when Drew's like, she's underneath the floor. And I'm like, Drew, God damn it. And then, like, the mom is still possessed at this point.
Yeah.
And she's, like, trying to get her. And that's when they have to talk to her, and they're like, no, you're better than this. You're a mom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, and then finally the demon, goes bye-bye.
Yeah.
And
books it, gets the fuck out of there.
I said, I'm out. The little girl doesn't get hurt, April. She ends up being fine. And that's it. All is well in the house.
Yeah, like you see the next scene, it kind of seems more shiny, like it's a sunny day. Everybody's just happy, like they they cleared the house of like any demons, any kind of like spirits.
Yeah.
And it just, I remember them just getting in the next morning where it's just like everybody's just sort of breathing for the first time.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Warrens end up like leaving the house and they take the little music box home and they put it in their storage room. Mm-hmm. And then kind of like the last cut scene is the little music box, and then the camera just kind of zooms into it slowly, but you see it playing, and then the little twirly thing on the mirror like moving, and so you think like something's gonna come out, but nothing. It's just waiting, jingling, and nothing.
And you know, it was like I said, I like the Conjuring movies. They have like a few jump scares, but I think it's not like one of those horror movies where there is no plot, because sometimes in a lot of horror movies it's like, okay, you're gonna get really scared, but the plot is not there. Like there's really no clear meaning of anything. But I feel like The Conjuring was not like that. It was good. Another movie I feel is like that is like Insidious. Like it's scary but with a meaning. Like so I don't know. I like films like that personally. But yeah, overall I thought it was a good movie. Especially for it being a scary movie, I think it's really well done. I think there are certain scenes that stand out, and I think the acting is pretty believable for the most part. So yeah, that's kind of my review.
Yeah, definitely. I think the characters are played very well. Very good cinematic qualities. You could tell it's like a more modern, scary movie. You know, there aren't really that. Because, like, you know, some scary movies have, like, this sort of comedic aspect to them because it's just so absurd that you don't believe it at all. But this movie just kind of has, like, a lot of different things going for it. Yeah. Like good writing, storytelling, actors, and all that. So the
storytelling is real nice. And like I said, even when there were jump scares, like, they added to the plot. It had to do with what was going on. Yeah. There's not, like, a lot of, like...
random shit.
Yeah, and... Of course, there's like the scariness of the demon, which is, you know, a very scary looking thing. But besides that, it's like, just like you were saying, it's not like sometimes some scary movies like just throw scary things at you and you kind of laugh at them because you're like, this is ridiculous looking. So it was good overall. I think The Conjuring is well done. I've seen this one and I've seen the third one. I haven't seen anything else in like the Conjuring universe, which I guess would be the second one, and Annabelle. I haven't seen those. Yeah. I also like the Conjuring 3, which came out recently. I thought it was good too. Very interesting. So that's all we have for you this week, guys. Stay tuned. Like I said, for me, it's already spooky season, so I may be doing a shit ton more spooky movies. Yeah. I may ask for recommendations. So just let me know what you guys want or don't want, and I'll take it into consideration.
Yeah. Next week is my spooky pick. It probably won't be as spooky, but it's definitely a thriller. So stay tuned for that. And that's it for me.
All right. Thanks for tuning into the podcast and hanging out with us for a while.
Yeah. Catch us next week. Bye.
Bye.